He buried the body so carefully that even the police believed it no longer existed. No witnesses, no evidence, no mistakes. Years passed, seasons erased the ground above it, and life moved on as if nothing had happened. Then one ordinary morning, a dog stopped walking, and that single moment destroyed everything he thought was permanent. The place where it all ended was quiet, ordinary, and almost invisible. A narrow forest trail used by locals every day. Joggers passed through it. Dog walkers followed the same path each morning. Leaves fell, decomposed, and covered the soil again and again. Time softened every sign that something terrible had ever happened there. That was exactly why he chose it. When the crime was committed years earlier, it was not chaotic or rushed. It was planned with patience. He thought about distance, visibility, and routine human behavior. He knew people rarely question places they see every day. He buried the body deep enough to escape animals, weather, and casual curiosity. Then he walked away and returned to normal life, confident that the earth and time would protect him. The victim did not trigger alarms immediately. At first, their disappearance was explained away. People assumed distance, personal issues, or a desire to start over. Days turned into weeks. Weeks became months. Eventually, the case slowed, then stopped entirely. The file was marked inactive. Leads were exhausted, officers moved on, and the man responsible slept peacefully, believing the past was sealed. Years later, on an ordinary morning, a man walked his dog along that same trail. He had done it many times before. There was nothing unusual about the day. The air was calm, the forest was quiet. Then the dog suddenly stopped. The leash tightened. The animal refused to move, sniffing intensely at one specific patch of ground. At first, the man thought nothing of it. Dogs stop all the time, but something felt different. The dog pawed lightly at the soil. There was a faint smell, not strong, not obvious, but wrong. The ground looked slightly uneven, almost unnoticeable unless someone stared long enough. Most people would have kept walking. He didn't. Later that day, curiosity brought him back alone. He knelt down and brushed aside leaves with his hand. Beneath them, something pale appeared. Not a stone, not wood. He froze. Within an hour, police arrived, sealing off the area and carefully beginning excavation. As the soil was removed inch by inch, the truth emerged. Human remains, deliberately buried. The burial showed precision. Depth, positioning, and soil replacement all indicated planning. This was not an accident. This was someone who believed they had done everything right. Dental records eventually identified the remains as a missing person whose disappearance had never been solved. A cold case was suddenly alive again. Detectives reopened old files and noticed something they had overlooked years ago. One name appeared early in the investigation, not as a suspect, not even as suspicious, just someone close enough to be questioned and then dismissed. Back then, his calm demeanor and cooperation worked in his favor. Now, the timeline told a different story. Old phone records were reanalyzed. GPS data placed him near the trail on the day the victim vanished. Financial records revealed late-night purchases and fuel receipts that matched the timeline. Individually, nothing was conclusive. Together, it formed a pattern that could no longer be ignored. When police questioned him again, he appeared composed. His answers were careful, rehearsed. Then investigators mentioned one detail he had never anticipated: the dog, the exact spot, the leash pulling tight. For the first time, his control slipped. A pause lasted too long. A sentence corrected itself unnecessarily. It was subtle, but it was enough. Search warrants followed. Soil samples from his property matched the burial site. Microscopic fibers linked the victim to his vehicle. Evidence that had waited silently for years finally spoke. When confronted, he didn't argue. He closed his eyes and confessed. He admitted believing that time would erase everything, that people walking past the site daily would make it invisible. He said no one looks twice at places they think they already know. He was wrong. In court, the dog walker testified quietly. He never wanted attention. He had simply followed his routine. The judge delivered the sentence: life in prison. The man who trusted time learned the truth too late. Time doesn't forget, it waits. And sometimes justice arrives without warning, pulled to the surface by the most ordinary moment imaginable.